Not all systems continue. Some stop transmitting, some stop extending. These are not the same thing. A system can receive something, process it, and still not carry it forward. That is not collapse, that is interruption. A pattern arrives, it is recognized, but it does not become a rule. There is contact, but there is no adoption, and so transmission stops. Nothing has to be removed, nothing has to be destroyed. The system simply does not convert what it receives into something that continues. The sequence does not end because it is cut. It ends because it does not propagate. That is the first condition. But systems do more than transmit. They extend themselves. They create what comes next. And this is where a second condition appears. A system may still be capable of continuing and yet choose not to. Not because it cannot, but because it no longer should. At this point, something changes. Continuation is no longer neutral. It is reclassified. What once looked like extension is now understood as transfer. Not a transfer of form, but a transfer of burden. When this shift stabilizes, continuation is no longer automatic. It becomes conditional, and under certain conditions, it is refused. This is not a break within a sequence. This is a refusal to extend the sequence at all. The system still exists, but it does not produce what comes next. It persists, but it does not continue. These two conditions, interruption and refusal, happen at different points. Interruption happens within transmission. Refusal happens at the threshold of continuation. But they share the same underlying structure. In both cases, continuity fails, not because something disappears, not because capacity is lost, but because a conversion does not take place. In one case, what comes in does not become something that can move forward. In the other, what already exists is reinterpreted as something that should not be passed on. So continuation stops. Both are forms of non-continuation, but they are not absence. They are outcomes that make sense under specific structural conditions. A system can stop carrying forward what it receives. A system can stop creating what will carry it forward. Interruption stops the sequence. Refusal stops the extension of the sequence. Neither requires destruction. Both require a shift in what is allowed to continue. Naming, declaration, interruption, and refusal. Under structural burden originates within matter-writing ecology. It describes two ways a system can stop continuing. The first is interruption. This happens when something is received but does not become something that can be passed on. The second is refusal. This happens when continuation itself is reclassified as something that should not occur. In both cases, continuation stops not because it is impossible, but because it is no longer converted into something that continues. The model describes how systems stop either by not carrying forward what they receive or by not extending what they are.